Welcome back to my channel. I'm Kayla with Kayla's Cricut Creations, and in this video I have lots of fun, budget-friendly Valentine's Day Cricut crafts to share. I love making these videos to give some holiday inspiration. Here's all the blanks I'm using. Almost all of them came from Dollar Tree or the Target Bullseye section. The adhesive vinyl that I'm using for most of these projects is Tech Wrap Craft. If you watch my channel a lot, you know I use this all the time. Look how pretty these are. I just love all their different colors. They're always so unique, and I will try to link the products I'm using in my description box. I also wanted to quickly show where I'm getting most of my SVGs in fonts, and also if you watch my channel a lot, you'll know I subscribe to Creative Fabrica, so that's where I get most of them. But February 1st through Valentine's Day on the 14th, they have their amazing deal going again. They had this during Black Friday and I believe one other time around Christmas. The sale that they have going on is for their annual membership where you sign up for the whole year, but it comes out to $3.99 a month, which is just insane to me. You'll pay $47 for the entire year. Also, if you already have a Creative Fabrica membership, you can still get this deal, which is so nice, and you can just add an extra year onto it, which is what I ended up doing on Black Friday. What's amazing about this website is they have 15 million fonts, SVGs, graphics, and things like that. It's just insane to be able to get all of that. If you don't want to commit to that year, you can sign up for free too, which is really nice, and see if you actually use it. You can choose a random design and hit download for free. I logged out so that you can see it. One thing to note is you can only get 10 downloads for free. Otherwise, it will automatically charge you for the monthly renewal. So just make sure you're not downloading more than 10. For my first Valentine's Day project, I'm going to add vinyl to wine glasses. I found these at the Dollar Tree. Dollar Tree has really great options for glassware, which is so awesome because it's really budget friendly. And you can also use scrap vinyl as well, which makes this a really inexpensive project to put together. And it's just fun to personalize these for different occasions. The colors I'm using is Mirror Chrome Red and Sparkle Rose Red. I'm in Cricut Design Space and I have one of my SVGs already uploaded. Like I said, most of my SVGs are from Creative Fabrica. I will have them all linked under each project, so if you want to use the same ones, you can find them. I am going to grab one more image. I want a heart, but I want my name to be over the heart. So what I'm going to do is upload this one. I'll hit complex, and I'm going to save it as a cut image since I just need the background of the heart, so I'll hit upload. If you pay for Cricut Design Space, they probably have something really similar, and they do have a ton of SVGs on there as well. I'm just gonna randomly make that smaller. This SVG has holes on the top of the letters, and I don't like that there, so I'm actually going to get rid of it, and I'm going to contour it. So I need to ungroup this. I am going to select each letter and hit contour. For some reason, it's not letting me do it all at the same time, so I have to do each letter separately. Okay, that's good. Now I'm going to change this color to red. And I'm actually going to be using like a shimmery red, and instead of pink, I'm going to be using just a solid red. But I'm just gonna keep this color pink so it's easy to tell which vinyl I wanna use. Now I'll go to my text and I'm going to grab a font. The font I'm using is called Madison. I thought this font was so pretty for Valentine's Day, and I am just going to write my name and put it over the heart. I'll just make this a little bit bigger. I want my name to be the same color as these, so what I'm gonna do is just select that. Now I need to attach the reds and the pinks over here, so I am just going to hit Shift on my keyboard and select it in the Layers panel. I'll come down to the bottom and hit Attach, and then I'll do the same thing for the pink ones. Now I'm just going to size it. I'm going to select over the whole thing so I can size it all together. Typically I do the measurements by the width, but this time I'm actually going to do the height, so I'm going to do 2.5 inches. For this one, I am going to do 2 inches for the height. It looks like I didn't get the E attached, so I need to do that. Now I can click Make It. I'll hit Continue. I'm going to select holographic vinyl for my cut setting. I normally place my whole roll on the mat and have the Cricut cut it out, but this vinyl has a protective sheet on top, so I cut it out going along with the measurements of my design. I remove that clear protective sheet. Sometimes it's hard to remember that's there, but then I add this to my mat. I use my brayer tool to make sure it's just placed down really well, and the Cricut will cut out the design. Here, I'm just doing the same thing for the other roll. I'm using my pen tool because I could not get it off. Sometimes it's really hard to get that sheet off. Then I go in and weed my vinyl. Tech wrap vinyl just weeds so well. I've had other vinyl in the past where it's just a complete nightmare to weed. And my name here in the script font is so thin, and that can be the most difficult to weed with adhesive vinyl, but it works really well. I cut out the designs, then I grab my transfer tape. I'm using Caesar Easy Weed. It is my ride or die transfer tape. It works so well, and I just always recommend it. So if you're struggling with a good transfer tape, I definitely recommend this one. I'm piecing together the first wine glass. I just add the transfer tape to my name, then I place that over the heart. I like to put the pieces together before I add it to the wine glass. Here's the design for my other wine glass, and like I said, I just add both vinyl pieces to the same transfer sheet, and it just makes it a lot easier. Now I'm ready to add these to the wine glasses. I always use rubbing alcohol to clean it down. It gets all that dirt off so the vinyl will stick down really well onto it. I add the vinyl off camera because I just couldn't see it very well. I press it down just in the center first, then I cut slits in the transfer tape. This is a huge game changer when you're adding vinyl to a curved surface. You can see how it releases the transfer tape, so I'm able to press the vinyl down onto the wine glass. If there's any tiny little bubbles in the vinyl on the Y, I had just a little bit, you can press it down and usually remove some of those tiny bubbles. Sadly, my two vinyl colors were so similar you could barely see my name, and I don't know how I didn't notice it until it was on the wine glass, so I decided to choose a different vinyl color and redo it. Sometimes I think two vinyl colors will look amazing together, and then I put it on the project and it just looks terrible, so thankfully I was easily able to fix it. Now I'm ready to add my vinyl to the other wine glass, and this one needed slits in the transfer tape as well. Sometimes when doing this, you have to put creases in the transfer tape and just kind of push it down, which is totally fine as long as the vinyl is smooth. Once that's done, I just remove the transfer tape. Here's how these turn out. They add so much charm to just plain wine glasses, and since these are Dollar Tree and you can use scrap vinyl, it would be a little under $3 just to make two of these. For my next project, I found this adorable heart table runner at the Dollar Tree. It was in the Dollar Plus section for $3. I thought this would be a super cute way to decorate for Valentine's Day, but I wanted to personalize it a little more with my Cricut machine, and I decided I would do that with heat transfer vinyl. The tag says it's made out of polyester, and HTV works really well with that. On each heart, I want to add a different word similar to the conversation hearts, and a good font for the conversation hearts is Arial Rounded, so I am going to grab that. I changed it to all caps, and I'm going to type in soulmate, and I'll just hit enter on my keyboard to bring it to another line. And I'm going to bring the line spacing in. I don't like having that big of a space, so up here I'm just moving this arrow down. That looks pretty good right there. It's minus 3.7. For my width, I'm going to make it 3 inches. I am going to pay attention to the font size. It's 78.48. For me, it's just going to be easier to change it to 78. And for the rest of the words that I'm going to write, instead of changing it to 3 inches for the width, I'm actually going to change all of the words to be the same font size. So I need 16 more words, so I'm just going to start typing those in. Okay, I have all my words typed up. They're actually all ready to go. With the words that have 2 lines, I made sure I had the exact same line space as soulmate, and I made them all the same font size. So now I can click on Make It. Cricut Design Space places these so close together, which is great that they're trying to save on material, but at the same time, it's really difficult to cut with scissors in between these. So I am just going to spread these out a little bit to make that easier. For me, it's worth it to do this than having to try to cut in between all those little lines. Okay, that looks so much better. Now I'll hit continue. I'll select everyday iron on. I'm using Caesar Easy Weed and I place it shiny side or carrier side down on the mat. Then I go in and weed the vinyl. I always find HTV or iron-on vinyl so much easier to weed than adhesive vinyl. I also prefer to use my Cricut weeding tool instead of my pen for HTV. For some reason, it's just way easier, and I definitely recommend this self-healing mat. I didn't have one for a long time, and I had little tiny holes all over my desk. Then I go in and cut out all of these words. I'm glad I left some space between them, otherwise it would have been so difficult to cut these out. I'm using my Easy Press Mini and I set it to the medium setting. I grab my heat press mat. You want something to press it into, and as you can see here, I am just figuring out where I want all the heat transfer vinyl to go. I decided to change my mind on a couple of them, so it's kind of nice to have it all laid out and ready. I'm ready to press the first one. I remove the vinyl and I preheat the heart. The nice thing about this, it gets out some of those wrinkles too. Then I run the Easy Press Mini over it for about 25 seconds. When it's still hot, I remove the carrier sheet and it just stuck down so well. Then I just move on to the next one. It had some wrinkles, so I was trying to get some of that out, and I follow the same process. I was tired of the Teflon sheet, so I decided I would try it without it, and it was totally fine, so I decided to just skip that step. I also love my Easy Press Mini. I always recommend it. I just use it all the time, and it's so convenient for projects like these. Here's what the table runner looks like on my kitchen table. I ended up adding a centerpiece in the middle, which does cover up some of the words, but looks so cute. It does have some wrinkles in there that I didn't love. I'm not sure how to get that out, but other than that, it just looks so cute for Valentine's decor. My kids love simple things like this. For this one, I'm going to personalize a hotel keychain. I bought these and made a keychain when the Barbie movie came out, and I thought since it's pink, it's perfect for Valentine's Day. I use rubbing alcohol to clean the keychain. I'm actually going to be using Print Thin Cut for this, and I'm using Tech Wrap's holographic sticker paper. This package comes with an assortment of holographic sheets, and I'm going to be using this last one. What's interesting about this is you print directly onto the vinyl sheet. I haven't tried this, so I'm really excited. I'm going to upload my image. I've already downloaded it onto Cricut Design Space. Okay, I have my design. I thought this would be so cute for my keychain. One thing that I want to point out is these little squares. You can see the grid lines in them. So that means when this prints off and you have the Cricut cut it out, Cricut is going to go in and cut out all of these little squares, which you definitely don't want it to do that. This is only going to be 2 inches wide. It's going to be very small. So having to cut out tiny little squares, it's not going to look good. So I'll show you how you can fill this with the offset, but Cricut's new Create Sticker button is an even faster and cooler way to do it. But first I'll show you with offset. I'll click on offset and you can see it still adds little squares in there. I can make it bigger to get rid of the squares, but it does make a pretty big offset. And if you don't want a thick offset like that, what you can do is bring it down. You can hit apply and you can use the contour button to get rid of it. So when I click on offset, you can see contour is grayed out. That's because it's set to a print thin cut. So I need to change it back to a basic, and now the contour button is here. So I'll hit contour. A fast way to do this is just hit hide all contours. Then when you click out, you can change it to white. And now it's not going to cut that out. You do need to highlight over everything and flatten it. And there you go. Now I'll show you with the Create Sticker button. Sadly, this is only for Cricut Access users. So if you don't have Cricut Access, you can't use it, but you can always use the offset tool, which is great. So I'll click on Create Sticker button. When I select die cut, you can see that it fills in those cuts automatically, which is so awesome. I could go in and add an offset around it, but I honestly don't even want an offset, so I'm going to leave it how it is and I don't have to do anything else. Now I can size this. I am going to make it 2 inches for the width. You can see how it's a lot smaller, but now I can click make it. I'll hit continue, send to printer. I actually am going to turn my bleed off. Cricut recommends keeping it on for a more accurate cut, but I've been struggling with it lately. And then I'm going to use system dialog. I'll select print. And for my quality, I want to select best. That makes a big difference with your print quality. If you are struggling with that, you'll want to always switch it to best, and I'll hit print. I load this into my printer. You'll need an inkjet printer for it. This was my first time using this, and I honestly wasn't sure how it would turn out. I was thinking the ink might look dull on it, but I was so surprised. Look how great the ink comes through onto it. It's only showing print options because I'm using the create sticker button. I'm going to use this setting right here. Cut around the design. You don't have to do this. You can just put the whole sheet onto the mat. As long as the black registration lines are there so the Cricut can read it, then it's fine. If your Cricut is struggling to read the registration lines, you might need to adjust your lighting or put matte Scotch tape over them. I peel it off the mat. I decided those little diamonds were just so tiny and they were going to be a pain, so I decided not to use them. Then I center it on my keychain and press it down. Look how pretty this looks on the keychain. I love how shimmery it is, and I definitely will be using this printable vinyl again. It's so cool. For my next project, I found this adorable Tic Tac Toe Board at the Target Bullseye section. I threw away the packaging, so I'm not sure how much it cost. It was probably $3 or $5, and these little pieces are made out of wood. I'm going to personalize just the hearts, and we have 5 people in my family, so I thought it would be fun to put all of our names on the heart. I'm not sure if that will look cute or not, but that's what I'm doing. I'm going to grab my font. The font I'm using is called JT Grove. And I am just going to type in the names of my family, my name, my husband's name, and my kids' names. And I'm also doing this in all caps too. For my sizing, I'm going to do a similar thing as I did earlier with the font size. I want my width to be 1.5 inches. I'm going to take one of these names because they're longer. I'll just take Quinn and I'll type in 1.5 inches. And that makes it 39.65 for the font size. I'm just going to make it 39. Then I'll go in and make the rest of these 39. The reason why I do this, I'll give you an example. If I were to make Josh 1.5 inches, you can see that it's quite a bit bigger than Kayla and Quinn. So it just doesn't look as uniform, I guess. So, whoops. So I love to size things this way. Okay, now I can click Make It. I'll select holographic vinyl. I'm using this Tech Wrap Sparkle vinyl. I will make sure I have everything linked for each project down in the description box. I must have really been in the mood for sparkles and holographic because I'm using so much of that for my projects. I'm cutting out my transfer paper and I use the same transfer sheet for every single name. It's really nice to do that and to save on some paper. Then I add each name to the hearts. I was also curious who decorates for Valentine's Day. I feel like I do just a tiny bit. After Christmas, it's like I have so many decorations out, so I feel like I go pretty minimal for Valentine's Day, but it's still fun. It adds a little bit of color in the middle of winter. I add this to my coffee table. It just makes really cute Valentine's Day decor, but it's also fun to play. My kids love playing tic-tac-toe, so this was a really fun Target Bullseye find. For this project, I found these super cute little frames, and look at the little embellishments with like roses on them. I thought it was so pretty. Target Bullseye has a whole tea party section for Valentine's Day, but I thought it would be fun to switch out those little insert pictures with Valentine's Day pictures. I removed those inserts from the frame, and the outside clear piece, it kind of looked like an acetate type material. So obviously this isn't the most amazing quality, but for $3 it could make some really cute little decor. Since these fit in the frame perfectly, I decided I would make shapes in Cricut Design Space and make it the same size. I want to use white cardstock, but I only have 12 by 12 size, so I need it to be 8.5 by 11 to fit inside my printer. I grabbed my paper cutter, and a lot of people don't know this. I don't think anyways. I didn't for a while. These have rulers that you can pull out so you can measure the paper and cut it to the size you need. It's awesome. These came in a bundle, and I just thought they were so fun. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to go to my shapes, and I'll grab a square, and then I will also grab an oval. And like I said, I want to make these the same size as those sheets that were inside of the frames. So the rectangle was 4.5 by 3 inches. And the oval was 4 by 3. I don't want to make this a guide or anything. I do want Cricut to cut it out. I also want to make it the exact color that I want it to print. It's going to be printing on white cardstock. So the oval's very easy. I am going to have it print just white, but this I want it to be a light pink color. And I ended up playing around with it and I saved the one that I chose. That is the one that I'm using. Now I just want these in the center. I'm going to bring these down, basically send it to the back, and I am just going to line these up in here. I think that looks great. I'm going to highlight over both. I'll hit align and center. While I have both of these selected, I need to flatten them. You can't just attach, you have to actually flatten it. The reason why is because if I attached it, it's going to cut all the words out. So I need to flatten it to make it a print and cut. Now I'll just line this up in here. I think that looks pretty good. I'll do the same thing. I'll highlight over both. I'll align and center. Then I will flatten. And these are ready. I'll hit make it. I'll hit send to printer. I'm going to turn my bleed off again. I'll hit use system dialog and I want to make sure I select best again. Then I'll hit print. This cardstock is 65 pounds, which works really well in my printer. For my material setting, I am going to go to cardstock. I'll select light cardstock. These designs just look so cute. I cannot wait to add these to the frame. So I add the sheet onto my cutting mat and I have the Cricut read the registration lines and then cut it out. I remove it from the mat and I am ready to add it to my frames. I just think these look so sweet and adorable. I'm putting them in my daughter's room. I also just posted a video showing how to make that heartfelt banner. I will link it in the description box because it was so fun to make. My kids love these little decorations around the holidays and I just love using my Cricut to make these. For this project, I found these really adorable heart doilies, I think is how you say it, at the Dollar Tree. I thought it would be fun to make this into a banner on my fireplace and add vinyl to the center of the hearts. I've seen people online this year making these adorable heart envelopes out of these, so look it up if you have time. They're so cute. After opening this, I saw it had a little embossed word on it that says love. So you will be able to see a little bit of that, I'm sure, through the vinyl, so we'll see how it turns out. I want 3 of each color for my banner. Also, these are, I think, kind of the medium size. I did see they have large hearts as well, and they might even have smaller ones. Here's the 3 vinyl colors I'm using, but this is a great project to use up some of your scrap vinyl. With this font, I am going to use JT Grove again. I think I've said this, I just love this font. I'm going to type in XOXO in all caps. For my font size, I am going to make it 1.75 for the width. I couldn't decide between 1.5 and 2 inches, so I thought I'd go kind of in the middle of that. And I'm going to duplicate this twice. I'm just using the hotkeys on my keyboard. You can come up here and select duplicate as well. And I am going to make these different colors. I'm going to do white. That will be kind of a silver color. This will be pink. And this one will be red. I want 3 of each, but what I'm going to do is click on make it. And I am just going to select 3 for project copies and hit apply. That makes it a lot easier. Then I'll hit continue and I'll select holographic vinyl. With this vinyl, remember to remove that clear protective sheet. I totally forgot when cutting some of these and had to redo it because it just was not reading very well. I cut and weed out the vinyl, and this vinyl is just so pretty. Now I'm ready to add these to my doilies, and I use the same transfer tape once again for all of these. Not all transfer paper is going to work on this. If it's too strong, then it will pick up that paper, so you have to kind of test out what transfer tape works first. Do any of you guys do any projects with these heart dolies from the Dollar Tree for Valentine's Day? I would love to hear what you make with these. I have a ton left over. I think it would be cute to set on like a dining table for decoration for Valentine's Day. Here's what this looks like on top of the embossed love, and you can see it a little bit through the vinyl, and you can still kind of see it underneath the first X there, but honestly, it really isn't that noticeable. Now I'm ready to add my string through the hearts. I'm using a doll needle and I just thread it through that, and then I take my needle and place it in one of the holes there, and then I bring it on the other side and try to have it be symmetrical. I pull the needle and string all the way through. I forgot to film the red one, but here I'm also doing the white one, and I'm just doing a pattern. Here I'm just adding it to my fireplace. I tape each side down, then I just make sure they're all centered on the string. This is such a cute and easy Valentine's Day decor idea, and the price comes out to around $4. For my last project, I actually created this last year, but it was such a fun project, and you can get all of these at the Dollar Tree still. I bought 3 wood hearts and this sign. I picked up apple barrel paint from Walmart. This is my favorite acrylic paint. I use this all the time. It's great because it's pretty inexpensive, and I just think it works really well. Here you can see me painting the wood hearts. I want them to kind of look like conversation hearts. By the way, these blue paint brushes that I'm using are a total game changer. They're from Michael's. I never have any of those little bristles come up in the paint. I bought this paint from Walmart with a order pickup, and they substituted my orange, and I started painting this, and this was just not it. I did not like it at all. Thankfully, I had bought an extra wood heart from Dollar Tree just because I know myself and I mess up easily, and I found some yellow paint that I already had. This was a little brighter than I wanted it to be, but I liked it better than the orange. Once the paint dried, I added Mod Podge to the hearts. This just helps protect the paint, and it helps the vinyl adhere to the hearts as well. The Mod Podge will dry clear. I'm also using the matte kind because it doesn't have that little sheen to it like the glossy does, so I prefer that look. Again, I already went into Cricut Design Space. I have everything ready. These are the 3 sayings that I'm going to put on my hearts to make them kind of look like conversation hearts. I grabbed a heart shape and created a guide with this, which is pretty cool that you can really create anything as a guide. And what I did is just line this up in here. I'm using the font Arial Rounded again, and all of these are going to be dark pink vinyl. So I'll go in here and I'm going to click Make It. I'll select vinyl. The Cricut will cut it out, then I'll weed out the design. I mention this in probably every video, but that is a pen tool that I'm using. It's amazing. It works so well. Now I'm ready to apply my vinyl, and this turned out even cuter than I had imagined in my head. Now I'm ready to add this to my sign. I'm using just a hot glue gun. By the way, I have so many products that I love, but I'm using a cordless glue gun, and it really makes it a lot easier when crafting. I just can't get over how much these look like the real candy hearts. Also, this was such an inexpensive project. It was probably around $5 or $6. Here's how this turned out. I just loved this project from last year, so I wanted to share it again. I hope you enjoyed these budget-friendly Valentine's Day decor ideas. Let me know which one was your favorite and what you've been making. I also would love it if you subscribe to my YouTube channel if you are new.